And I want to thank you all for being here today. My name is Carolyn Marino-Mullen. I'm the director here at Oxnard Performing Arts Center. This event, we really wanted it to be an intimate conversation. And I discovered this idea for Conflict Kitchen from a restaurant in the Midwest. And what they would do is serve a meal from two countries in conflict.
But tonight is different, and I think we want to face conflict that the world is experiencing today. And I'm talking, of course, about war in Ukraine. As our wonderful singer was preparing, as soon as I hear her, singing, it really hit my soul so hard. Because all of us are impacted by this war in one way or another. And tonight, this is a very great topic, but we'll be brave to face it, and we'll be an evangelist. When we leave tonight from this venue, we'll go out and share the impact that these testimonials that we're going to hear tonight with whoever we meet. And the change, social change, global change starts with me. It starts with every one of us. That's how we can change the world. And the world all of us need to know what's going on, and I think we do hear about it. And I was thinking about, bringing maybe a presentation, but the numbers are grossly underestimation of what's really going on, and also numbers are numbers. It does not bring up the real human stories, and we have real human stories. So tonight, I am going to, by the way, my name is Sunghee Nam, and I'm a sociologist. I'm a sociology faculty at California State University, Channel Islands, and I'm serving as a humanities advisor for OPAC with Carolyn. And this is really a lovely event. So that's all that I'm going to say right now, and I'm going to pass the microphone to our wonderful panelists, and I will be asking a few questions about the circumstances of, some of them have been here for a while and have been hosting Ukrainian families, and through the program called United for Ukrainians, and I'll be explaining a little bit more about what that program is. If you are interested in supporting a Ukrainian family in Ukraine, you can do that through this program. So I'm going to ask them, first of all, introduce themselves to us right now. So we're sort of sitting this way and facing you, but the audience, please raise your hand if there's any comments or questions along the way.
My name is Sebastian Porter. Initially I was born in Zaporozhye, in Ukraine, and then I lived practically all my life in Kyiv. But we moved over to the United States pretty long ago. And right now, I would like to, first of all, to thank everybody for coming over and to bring this to your attention. Because we would like to thank the American people, that everybody to support Ukraine in that war for the freedom for our country and for our lives. And in fact, not only for Ukraine, but for the whole world. Because, like Sunghee just mentioned, so the numbers are very, very dry. You never really understand what's going on over there in Ukraine, and what scale of that tragedy actually goes on. And I'm so sorry, so we're getting so emotional. We can break in tears, so please forgive me for that. But when I'm thinking about that atrocity and all that devastation which goes over in Ukraine, it's so hard to understand and comprehend. See, for example, we look at all of my, not all of them, but many of my friends, my family members, they still live in Ukraine. My mom is in Kiev, and she is 87 years old already. So that I cannot move her nowhere. She doesn't want to leave, and she doesn't want to go nowhere. And so the Russians, they shelling the cities systematically, on everyday basis, not just with projectiles, but they send in the cruise missiles, the ballistic missiles, and they systematically destroying the civilian infrastructure of the Ukrainian cities. They wiping out completely, the cities, and they're trying to intimidate the people because they believe, that finally, the Ukraine will surrender. But this will never happen. And anyway, that cruise missiles already hit, Kiev, 5 yards away, from the place my mom lives, 4 times. Can you believe that? And I have a friend of mine. He used to live in Kiev, but they left Kiev when the war started. He has 3 kids, and his youngest son is 4 years old. And he told me that when he hears the sound of flying jet, he just shuddering he hurts himself on this table. And those kids, they die every day. They already killed over 350 people in Ukraine. I mean, the kids only. And then another 600 are wounded. And this happens each and every day in each and every Ukrainian city. And so it's been already 5 months. So on 24th, it's going to be exactly 5 months then that started. And so again, numbers. But Ukraine used to have about 40 million citizens, 40. And right now, 12 million people left their houses, and they traveling somewhere because they don't have a place to live. And so even the southern part of Ukraine, which is now occupied by Russia, so in fact, 21% of the whole Ukrainian territory is now under the occupation. So you should understand, the scale, because let's say by the area, that area is about the size of Austria and Switzerland together, or the United States, the state of Mississippi, of the same size. So all that land is occupied by Russians. And so they're trying to wipe out everything Ukraine. So they killed Ukrainians just because they are Ukrainians. They already deported 2 million Ukrainians over to Russia, to some kind of undeveloped regions. And those numbers hard to believe, but they're saying that 600 kids actually were already deported to Russia. And they trying to implement them somehow in those regions and make them Russians. And they will teach them to, apparently to kill Ukrainians. And this is totally unbelievable. I have not, I do have an idea, how it happened. But, those crimes of war, Russian soldiers and the Russia itself committed right now against the humanity in Ukraine, it's totally unbelievable. I initially wanted to make some kind of portfolio or maybe some kind of presentation to show you the images of war. But then I decided that this is going to be way too much. We still cannot handle this ourselves even after all that time. Now, people like saying if rainbow is on the sky for 15 minutes, so nobody will notice. So that's why that level of attention kind of cools down. So nobody now, everybody is talking, but if you look at the news everybody's talking about different kinds of things. So Ukraine is not on the first line anymore, because people kind of getting used to it. But it's not getting any better, so it's even getting worse. So the only way for us, for everybody, in order to stop that Russian invasion to Ukraine, they will never stop. This is the only thing we can do, and we can beat them on the battlefield. This is the only way. So Ukraine has enough of willpower to do that. The only thing which Ukraine needs is the weapons. So we need everything we can get in order to stop that invasion, to stop that atrocity, in order to stop the devastation. And we're really, really thankful for the United States, for people of the United States, for the American government, for American president, for everybody, for helping us with whatever is done in order to help Ukraine to survive and to beat that invasion. Thank you very much. God bless America. God bless American people. And stay secure.
You heard it all. We have a couple of other families from Ukraine I would like to introduce, and then I would like to also introduce Magda, who also sponsored the Ukrainian family to come over here. So I'd like to invite you first.
My name is Anya. I arrived in the USA with my family, my husband, my 2 children, almost 2 months ago. We are from Odessa. Our city is near the Black Sea. Our life changed on 24th of February. So, on 24th of February, when Russia started war against Ukraine, it was not safe to stay, and we decided to move. Moldova was the first country where we arrived. We have been there almost 1 week. Then we decided to move further to Romania. The generous man proposed his house where we live with him and with his family. And then we decided to move to Czech Republic. We have been living there for about 2 months. People from Czech Republic, they were very kind. They proposed us a free house, some food, and but we didn't stay here because we couldn't find any job because we don't know Czech language. And then we know about United for Ukraine program. We found our supporter, our sponsor, Magda, our new family, and now we are here. Thank you.
I went for vacation with my boyfriend, and I never came back to my home. So I lost my place, I lost my friends, not physically like other people, but emotionally, and everything that I was doing for many years, my work, my friends, my life, everything was stolen by Russians. And thanks God, I have an amazing boyfriend who helped me to come here because he lives in Oxnard. So I can be in a safe place, but every morning I'm waking up, I'm reading the news, I'm crying because my family isn't there, my parents aren't there, and they're in a kind of a safe place, but there is no safe place in Ukraine for now. And because of the time difference, sometimes I'm reading the news like there was the shooting in Odessa region and also from Odessa. And I don't know which city is that, so I just have to wait while my parents will wake up and will respond me. So I know that they're alive, but it wasn't that city. So when someone says like, they're not all the Russians bad, I really understand this, but you have to be really big-hearted to, to accept this thing. And I'm sorry, but I'm not that big-hearted. So for now, I have a lot of anger and sorrow for what's happening because they stole physically their lives, mentally, and they still deny that fact. But yeah, thank you. Thanks to states that they helped us. And
so yes, we're a family of 8 now in our home, and I don't know. To be honest, this is the first time I saw Anya cry, because it's given her a chance to see other people and let it out, I think, and really hear other people's stories, and I know it's emotional for her. We did this because we saw what was happening back in March when the news really started coming out, and there was a Facebook post about some teenagers that created a group or website where you could become say you will have a housing available and people can sign up who need housing, and it was specific for Ukraine. And I told my husband, I think I'm gonna do this. And he's like, okay. So we put the ad up there, not knowing what was gonna happen, because we're all the way in California, because that's pretty safe. We won't really get anyone wanting to come out here. Well, then they contacted us, and originally they thought they were gonna come through Mexico because the border was still open. It was right before the program started when they actually contacted us. So we spoke one morning, WhatsApp first, and then we did a video chat. And I mean, after you see someone live on a video, you can't really say no. So we started trying to figure out how they can come through the border, and then literally a week or 2 later, they had issues first with tickets. They lost their first set of tickets, and then issues with airlines, and it was every step of the way. There's always been some hiccup or something scary or something we had to wait for, a process that was taking longer than we thought. So that's been the whole time, well, before they got here and after they got here. But also, so then they thought they were going to come again through Mexico. They had tickets. And then the border was closing 2 days after they would have arrived in Tijuana. So they canceled those tickets, and we went through the United for Ukraine program, which was a very long paperwork process online through the government. And because we were one of the first families, I think it took longer than it might have for families who did it a month later, because a month later all the processes were organized and everything was a little quicker. So we kind of maybe paved the way for other people. So then a month later or so, they got their tickets. We were in Minnesota for a wedding, and we were arriving in LAX on a Sunday, and then they were going to be there Monday. So I went back and forth to LAX to pick them up. I had to make sure I had a car seat for the 3-year-old, and just all the little things. We got a little toddler bed, and I had moved my boys into share a room so that Lisa could have her own room. And now we're just, 2 families trying to share the kitchen and listen to the 3-year-old crying and having fun and swimming, and that's been our experience so far. And honestly, I couldn't have asked for a better family to be with us. So I'm really happy.
So again, the question is, what do you think the Ukrainians in Ukraine right now would like us in the U.S. to know about what's going on? If there's one thing they would like us to know, what would that be? And also, how they would like us to help and support them.
I would like to emphasize once again. So the most important thing is to spread the knowledge. Because the people around the world, they have to understand what actually going on over there. So nobody probably could have believed, that could have happened in the 21st century. That one country will invade another right in the center of Europe, killing people, like on such an enormous scale. And it's actually not just war; it's practically genocide. Like, because Russia right now hits, like all the check marks for the definition of the genocide, because they practically trying to wipe out the Ukrainian nation. And you probably don't know that, but at that time when the Soviet Union collapsed, it happened in 1991, and then in 1994, Ukraine actually proclaimed independence in 1991. And Ukraine at that time had the third biggest nuclear arsenal in the world after the United States and Russia. And Ukraine voluntarily decided to give up all that nuclear weapons in order to gain, to support disarmament in Europe and in the world. And that was kind of an agreement, between the whole countries in that region, that Ukraine given up the nuclear weapons, and instead we get a guarantee for the safety of the Ukraine. And that document was signed in 1994, but Russia, Ukraine, the United States, and Great Britain. However, see what happened now. When Ukraine has no nuclear weapon to defend themselves, then Russia eventually will get step by step, and they try to gain the control over Ukraine. And now they threaten even the United States. So the Prime Minister Russian Prime Minister, about, I believe, Vehicle. I'm not sure that was him, but anyway, somebody from Russia, highest executives, they said that, we have some part of Russia in the United States, so we can proclaim this as our territory as well, meaning Alaska. See, so they are now trying to even threaten the United States with that, I don't know, I don't want to call it, so this is the nuclear threat, and they say that they can use it. And they practically do this already, because they occupied Ukrainian atomic power plants. And in Zaporozhye, they have, it's the biggest in Europe power plant, which produces electricity for Ukraine. So now they hide their tanks and all that military equipment inside the machine rooms for that the power station, kind of thinking that it may protect that military equipment from attack from Ukrainian armed forces. So if this happens and something will destroy somehow those nuclear plants, so this is going to be like a nuclear poison for all the territory around. So technically, this is already in process. So we have to stop this as soon as possible, because the devastation which could have happened if this happens, it will be enormous. And again and again and again, I'm saying this again, so we have to spread the knowledge. Everybody has to understand what's going on. And if you take time and dig on the internet and check for all those casualties and all those atrocities and whatever they're doing in Ukraine, you don't even, when you read those stories, they are pretty horrible. But when you speak with actual people who went, who fled Ukraine and those places of invasion, it's totally unbelievable. So, for example, I have a friend of mine. They were running from the southern part of Ukraine, from that Kherson region, and it's occupied by Russians right now. So they have like a block post, a checking point for them And that was like a 50. So they have to pass those checkpoints. And they undress them practically naked, checking for the patriotic tattoos, some kind of marks from carrying weapons. Well, it's unbelievable. And again, the scale of that tragedy is absolutely unbelievable. So you can understand, so people, they hide themselves in underground shelters for months with nothing, with no food, no water, no heat, no medication, no hygiene. People dying in the same room with everybody, and still in those shelters. It's totally unbelievable. And they don't have any kind of medications, no antibiotics, no painkillers, nothing. And those people, they suffer such an enormous tragedy, it's totally unbelievable. So, if you can, or if you want to, please, try to educate yourself, to check, what's going on. Don't please forget about that thing which is right now in process. It's a really, really serious war, and we all have to unite together in order to stop it. Because so Russia will never stop. If they occupy the Ukraine, they will go further. Because then it's going to be the Baltics, it's going to be Poland, so it's somebody else. And if you look around, you will see that any place of conflict in the world right now somehow is associated with Russia. So this again, because this won't stop, because this is the only way for them to survive. Because so Putin, he is a dictator, and dictator stay alive when he is in power. The moment he loses the power, he's gonna be killed by his own people. So that's why he's trying to maintain the power. He's trying to expand his empire. Unfortunately, the propaganda is so strong. A lot of people in Russia support him. A lot of them. We don't actually understand the scale of it, because they fooled by propaganda big time. They have several propaganda shows on the TV, which goes on the TV every day, prime time, for 10 hours every day for 20 years. Can you believe that? And they are full, to present propaganda to that level, which is totally unbelievable. And whatever they say, it's total bullshit, and those are lies altogether. You cannot listen to them probably even for 10 minutes, because when you look at them and listen to them, those people are crazy. It's not possible for normal people to say such a things. And they doing that each and every day for 10 hours a day on the prime time. Unfortunately, this is true, but yeah.
What we can do? How we
We
can help?
need to spread the knowledge, to support the Ukraine, to support our efforts to stop the war, to stop the Russian, to eliminate somehow the threat to the war.
Another way to help is to become a sponsor. You don't have to host or have someone live with you to become a sponsor. You can just be the supporter of the beneficiary. So, of course, there are websites and matching. Some are matching better. Try to match people who want to live together to get the right types of families together, the right location, and everything. But there's also just some Facebook groups that we follow, and you constantly see a family that needs a sponsor. They want to come to America, they're trying to leave, and you hear their story. So we can share those Facebook groups with you. I'm sure there's other more official ones, but there's so many people looking for a sponsor. It doesn't cost me anything. Them living in my house is a different story, but if I was to just say, I sponsor you, you are my beneficiary, I take responsibility for bringing you to America, and to be honest, it's not legally binding, so don't worry.
Yes.
There's nothing can happen bad to you to sponsor someone, you're only helping them. So even though it sounded like a lot of work, now that it's streamlined, I don't think it's as hard for people to get through. you do some online documents and it's not
Because
very
now
hard.
we have a lot of information how to fill this,
Yeah.
how to send what document you need.
Exactly. The
Yes.
Facebook group has like information,
And
there's websites.
On YouTube, you can.
Lawyers,
Yes.
yeah, so it's all written out. Everybody like streamlined it, so it's not hard. So just tell people about it. Tell people it's not hard to sponsor. There's lots of information. You don't have to have them. You don't have to be a host to be a sponsor.
Yes, don't be afraid. It's,
Yeah.
And it's different than being a sponsor through the government. There's a way to be,
So there's some like churches and organizations that can be listed as a sponsor, and they can probably sponsor as many people as they're allowed to fill in.
do they have to go through the
no.
government at all?
No, I didn't. I just signed up as my own person. They ask you for your income and financial information. But honestly, I think you can make like $24,000 a year and be allowed to bring someone into the country. So many people here can probably bring many people into the country. So if it helps a few people get to a place where they're safe for 2 years, it's a 2-year program.
So currently, I looked it up, and 71,000 Ukrainians are currently in Ukraine since March, but very small portion of that group came through United for Ukraine because it's a pretty new program. So my next question to Anya is, what kind of needs do you think the Ukrainians in Ukraine right now, like yourself, need?
in Ukraine, what people need now here.
Here, Ukrainians, so like yourself,
In the
United States. In the United States.
I can tell you what we have already done during these 2 months. We have received our driver license. We already have our medical insurance. We have applied for benefits. Also, we have applied for employment authorization, but we need to wait for about 4-6 months to receive it, but we need to work. And we also we need to find how we can expedite this process. And we already sent our request to Congresswoman Julia Bromwell, and we hope she can help us with this kind of problem. Our older daughter, she's already enrolled to school. Also, I have my younger son, he's 3 years old, but we also have some little problem. For his age, he can go only to private kindergarten, but the price of this kindergarten is very high. And so we are looking for some help to attend school for some for a low price of maybe free. So
Preschool is very expensive.
yes, preschool is very expensive for his age because it's private school. It's about more than $1,000 per 1 month. Yes. So that's
When's he going to be born?
when
Will he be 4?
he can go to.
No.
Is it a question? Or-
Yeah. When will he?
The next year.
Next April.
Next April. Yes. But I need to work.
Yeah.
But I can't do it because I need to sit him at home.
Right.
Yes. So what problem I have, the same problem have all Ukrainians who are already now in the USA. Preschool, job, to wait employment authorization. We don't know how it will be long.
That's one of the hiccups of the program. It's frustrating that you invite 100,000 people in and then you make them wait 9 months to be able to support themselves. So if you don't want them to be a burden on the system, well, give them the work authorization so they can work.
I have a hope to return to my country because my parents are still here. My friends of my daughter, our partner, our cat, all our life in our country now. So we hope someday we can return.
Are there efforts to bring those family members here also? Are there efforts to bring those family members to the United States with you?
My parents, they don't want to move.
I see.
But now they are safe, but you can say some place in Ukraine are safe now. There is no place which is safe. Today it is safe, tomorrow, no.
Soon we'll have climate refugees as well. So being, hosting, welcoming people like us, I think that should be our new habit to live in this global world. And I'm just so moved by all that I learned tonight. And I am a changed person because I learn. And I am sure that you feel the same way. And we have an incredible singer who is Ukrainian, but she, Irina, I didn't realize when we asked Bill to invite, what's her name? Katrina to sing, and I didn't know that involved trip to downtown LA in this traffic and bring her back here. And Irina, she was willing to do it because she wanted to make this event special. So we are for a trip. We have the singer singing for us as we end tonight's event.
This song about our pain, this song about my country. We are brave, we are strong, and we will win. So, this song Ukrainian, so I must explain you something. Thank you.